For the record, in my entire lifetime, outside of the context of the lorikeet cage at Busch Gardens in Florida, I have literally never seen a bird in a tree in its natural habitat. I can't see them. About the idea of people wanting to be independent and cope with things on their own and learn to deal with the world in a way that they can is extremely important to us, and I think it's part of our development and part of what can make us successful, hopefully, if we learn to do it right. The difficulty comes with recognizing within our own selves not only that sometimes we need help, but I think sometimes acknowledging that need and knowing when to ask for help. It's not always an easy thing to do, to ask for help, and it's frustrating to us sometimes when those around us who know us don't necessarily readily offer that help. And I have to remind myself sometimes that sometimes the visual impairment that comes with albinism isn't always obvious to the folks who are around me. The only real obvious sign that I'm aware of that tells folks who are observing me that I'm visually impaired primarily comes when I'm reading something. Other than when I'm reading, it's not always obvious to the rest of the world that I'm visually impaired. Another issue with this, and it's my own making, I've talked with a few other folks who say they don't do this, but I fake it a lot. I will, rather than get into the discussion on what I can or can't see in a lot of cases, I kind of nod and acknowledge as though I've seen what has just been pointed out to me. In my video on devices, I alluded to the fact that there have been times that I haven't been able to identify my own child on stage when they're in a performance or on a soccer field or on a basketball court, because I simply can't see them. And there are times that in order to avoid disappointing my child by him knowing that Dad didn't see him there, I'll bluff and I'll pretend as though I've seen it. I get the description from my wife who's sitting next to me, and I play like I've seen it. When the kids want to point out a bird in a tree or a squirrel up a tree or something that's outside my visual range, a lot of times rather than, again, disappointing them or making them have to stop and describe what they're seeing, I bluff and act as though I've seen it. While this helps me get along in the world with a few less issues, I think sometimes it may create for myself another issue where people believe I see more than I do because I don't let on, and I allow them to believe that I see more than I do just to get by, to pass. For the record, in my entire lifetime, outside of the context of the lorikeet cage at Busch Gardens in Florida, I have literally never seen a bird in a tree in its natural habitat. I can't see them. Is it great to tell everybody that, to make them feel sorry for me, or to make them feel like they have to describe it to me in all of its glorious detail? I can pull up an image on my iPad and zoom it in as close to get the detail as I need to. I know that it in some cases, for some people, that they find that to be sad that I've never seen a bird in a tree. I can tell you I've seen a million amazing sunsets, live and in person. I've watched the sunrise over the mountains. I've enjoyed nature and being out of doors, and that for me is still sufficient. That I can't see the squirrel that's 20 feet above me may be frustrating, but it's not gonna devastate my world. But me pretending that I've seen it when someone pointed it out, while it may not devastate my world, it may give them the impression that I can see more than I can, and then lead to confusion when I ask for help on something else where it's more mission critical that I see what is out there. When we express frustration because we expect someone who knows us to readily pop up and know when we need help, sometimes I think we may have painted ourselves into that corner. Not intentionally, it's just something that I know I've done. I wanted to take a minute to say that to a great extent, I think for us, acknowledging our own inability to see something can put us on a better footing with those around us so that they may have a better understanding of what assistance we may or may not need at any given time. And it ties in with what we talked about regarding school and being able to ask for help when we need it and being confident enough to discuss our own condition on an intellectual level without it being overly emotional, and just acknowledging that we need some assistance sometimes. And go ahead and subscribe or follow us on Twitter at P.A.L.E Communicate, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks, and have a great day.